Hi, and welcome to this week's Mortgage Broker broadcast. My guest this week is Alex Curtis of The Lead Engine. The reason why I wanted to get Alex back onto podcast was to talk about the importance of having a website and understanding what options are out there as a self-employed mortgage broker, as a sole trader mortgage broker who's wanting to have their own website. So I wanted to look at, because there are choices you've got when you're looking to have your own website as a mortgage broker. You can either do nothing and not have a website. You can just continue with the social media, other aspects that you're doing. You can pay somebody to do that. But obviously, when you're first starting out as a self-employed mortgage broker and as a sole trader business owner, it's all about cash flow. So that's not always the best and the most effective option. And then, so the last option is having a DIY self-service website going on. And the reason why I say I wanted to get Alex onto the podcast, because that is something they've offered, something that they offer to brokers, something that I've experienced and had first-hand experience of recently. I've changed my website provider at craigscotland.co.uk, changed that, looked at changing the design, the setup, reached out to Alex in terms of it, put me back in control of my website, put me in control of my learning development, because there were a lot of things I wanted to learn about web development and SEO and things like that. And Alex does provide all that in a sort of really great environment. So rather than me talking more about it, let's get Alex onto the podcast to talk about it. You're listening to the Mortgage Broker broadcast with me, Craig Skelton, the podcast which helps mortgage brokers at all stages of their mortgage broking career. So welcome to the podcast, Alex. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm really good, thank you. Thanks for having me on again.
Good. No problem. No, thanks for agreeing to come back onto the podcast and talk about websites, which we're going to get into shortly. But no, I appreciate you coming back on. I think, is this the second time you've been on now?
It's at least the second, and then I think you've had like Tom and Tessa on, haven't you? I think it's definitely my at least second. Yes.
Yeah, I think it is the second, but we have had representatives of the Lead Engine on the podcast on several occasions, educating our listeners and subscribers about
so
it.
It's cost me a fortune. That has.
Absolutely. So no, thanks you so much for agreeing to come back on. And the reason why, I wanted to get you back onto podcast is really talk about the importance of having a website as a mortgage broker, because as we discussed before we hit record, I'm talking quite a few brokers I've spoken to recently that are active on social media, are keen in getting the videos and the content out there, but don't have a website in using my words to back up what the content they're putting out there. So they might have YouTube, they might have Insta, TikTok, and everything else, but there's no website to back that up, kind of thing. So I wanted to thank you so much for coming back onto the podcast to talk about this, because I feel my own personal experience about having a personal website is important as well from a business point of view. So then people have got one place to go to where they can sort of see various things. They're not going to your TikTok or your TikTok. Well, that's your name. Old TikTok's going on. TikTok, looking at your Insta, your Facebook, and things like that. Everything's in sort of one place. So, and obviously there's things like SEO and things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there that I was quite surprised how many brokers don't have their own website. And is that something that you do come across?
Yeah, I think so, because it's easier and quicker to set up your social profile. You're done in a couple of minutes, and the website is more time consuming. And then I think a lot of people will use a web designer, and it will rumble on for months and months and months, and then never get done. It's such a painful process to get done if you haven't got a proper plan, or you haven't done what. Certainly, your first website. A lot of people's first website. So you're really precious over your business and your brand. So you want to make it look amazing, and you get in this cycle of trying to get this perfect website done that's never perfect. And then I know a lot of people that hate the process of it, and it puts them off. And then probably don't realize the benefits of it if they get it right, if they get it functioning. The tool, it's just a tool. It's a sales tool. It's a marketing tool. it can generate inquiries that can turn into business, as you know. And you can have that website producing reliable numbers of inquiries and build on that month on month. You get a sustainable pipeline from it. But I suppose if you don't know that, and then you've worked with someone, or you've heard someone else saying, "Oh, it took me like 6 months to get my site done," it's just going to put you off. So I totally understand it, and definitely see it. And then you've got the compliance sort of, not barrier, but the compliance level. You've got to get that right as well. So I understand why people don't, and it is much easier to get a social profile up. So I get it. And then, yeah, it is a shame. It is a shame that people don't, they see things like SEO as a dark art. And they probably see websites as more complicated than they are, the perception of it, when in reality it isn't. But it's a little bit more work than just doing a social side. So it kind of makes sense, really, that that's why people don't.
I think that's, like you say, you talk about the dark art of SEO, and that it can be a case of, with regards to, particularly mortgage brokers, it's about friction, and having your own website creates friction because it's where to start, where to go to, how do I get a domain, what domain do I have, what does, and again, when they're putting the content out there and on social media, it's making sure that that looks clean, polished, and gives them a good representation of the brand. So if they're then looking at building a website and look at doing that, is that, well, is that, they say timescales are different with regards to websites to social profiles, but it's also as well making sure that it's like the dark art, like you talk about. It's like, well, how do I create it? What does that look like? What does that need to look like? How does that sound? What do I need? How much time and effort do I need to be putting this on a daily basis? And they could be, like, I know brokers that have had their fingers burnt and lost quite a lot of time and money trying to build a website because they've been. It's like you probably get them as much as well.
Oh, every call that I get, it starts with, "We've been burnt before." Every single one, without fail, has been burnt. Yeah, just so again, there's that. There's that. So I totally get it. So yeah, it's a nightmare, but it isn't, and it doesn't have to be. That's the frustrating thing. Because we've taught people who are new to the industry, new to marketing, and they have got themselves to page 1 of Google for the types of clients that they want to get. It's just that it wasn't an overnight thing, and they had to do some work. But it is possible. But I think a lot of people, there's layers, like you say, even like the domain stuff, like choosing a domain and stuff like that. It doesn't really matter. Just get you just get one. Nobody cares what you're called. No one's going to see that domain name other than on your business card, because people just click links. You know, it's rare that anyone types in your domain. They might search your brand name, but you're better off getting something done and out there than not wanting to do it at all. I think there are plenty of people that are pursuing it, and they see other people that are successful with it. But it's probably another thing, I suppose. It's probably easier to see someone successful on social media than it is, because you don't see people's results on like Google. But no, but you don't, unless you're got a website that's generating inquiries. You don't know. Like I spoke to some people, like I don't even know if people search for mortgage advice and would inquire. So the whole concept of someone wanting to Google something, find an advisor, and call them, he was dubious of that fact.
Right.
Didn't think that was he was like, I think they were more likely on social, but from my perspective, it's the other way around. You know, so it's kind of seeing is believing, but you've got to get it to believe it, I suppose, or know someone that's successful with it, and very few, I guess, are. I suppose a great thing about your podcast is you own your own firm, and you've done these things yourself, so people hopefully more likely to believe you than someone like me who's trying to flog the services, isn't it? You know, so I think it's a great thing that you do this and share that, because you are doing it.
Absolutely. I think that the thing is, like, when I when I look at this from a business point of view, but then from my own point of view as well, on which we'll talk about that, and we'll make it clear on the podcast, this is not a sales pitching podcast about the Lead
Yeah.
Engine or other services that are available within Lead Engine. We'll make that clear. But I wanted to get the reason why you've got choices, I think, as a broker and as me as a business owner. I've got my own firm. We've got three choices. You've either do nothing whatsoever with the website. You don't even think about doing a website. You pay somebody to do the website. So you put somebody in control of that. And the last one, which is what I wanted to talk about and something that I've experienced recently, is that you can do this yourself. And that, you alluded to it a little bit there in terms of, so those are the choices that you've got to make. I certainly don't think that the first one is an option. I think you need to do something with a website as a mortgage broker, even if it is just a one landing page kind of thing going on. You need to have some presence, because like you say, you'll never sort of see people. Well, you can't see it. There's only an individual that knows how many leads they've got, how many hits they've got on the website, how many click through, what the click through rate is like, and things like that. You see all that, oh, I'm getting 50,000 views on Insta and things like that. But people, you never sort of see, well, actually, how many people inquired about that? And you don't see anybody publicizing the fact that on my website generated 5 leads this week, because it's not something that people can actively see. So it's something that's personal to you. I'm, as in the person that owns the website, owns the domain, does what they do. That's the only person that can see actually what traction that is getting on the hard work and putting that. But the beauty of it is, and what I'm finding and what I wanted to talk about on the podcast, was that I made a decision, like I've had a website, craigskelton.co.uk, for a year, probably 18 months or so now, but I didn't feel that it gave a representation of me. I wasn't in control of it per se. I just wanted to look at what options I've got to take back control, because I'm okay with technology. I'm okay with word terminology and things like that. But actually, I'm not a web developer. I'm not somebody that wants to spend 5-6 days a week, 12 hours a day, just focus on a website. That's not what I wanted to do. However, I wanted to be in control of my website. And I think that was the sort of why you and I then start talking. And like I say, going back to this is not a paid presentation of the Lead Engine and the service that you offer, but I wanted to get you back onto the podcast to talk about this, because this is something that I know a few brokers are using already. I chose to use it. I reached out to you and said, this is something that I want to do. And I'm now got my website. I'm in control of it. I'm updating it. I spend a day a week, like, updating my website. It's been building it, and I want to build it out. But and it's not too difficult and things like that from what I'm finding and what I've experienced so far. But I'm getting positive feedback. I've had 2 people reach out to me and book discovery calls on the back of my new website. So I'm not going to put that on Insta. You're not going to see the click. You're not going to see the number of views and things like that. But actually, that's all that matters. I'm not here for views. I'm not here for connections. And I put it out there to educate people, and obviously that is important. But the website is helping me build traction as a mortgage broker coach, as a podcast host, as somebody who owns my own firm. It's helping me get traction, but in the right kind of way, and I'm getting good feedback. So I wanted to use this platform for people to think, well, I can't not have a website. I could pay somebody to do it myself, but there is other options out there to build my own website on a template kind of thing, because they say people are scared of it. They're thinking, what does compliance look like? How does that work? But do you want to just explain what for want of a better word, self-service option is with Lead Engine with regards to the website?
Yeah, really good point as well. Just that you picked up on as well. I think there's this concept that your new craigskelton.co.uk has only been live a little while, but you've had those sort of 2 come through. And I think there's this concept, if people get their head around, that those two might not have inquired before based on what they saw before, if that makes sense. I think some people think, oh, if someone's going to a website and they're going to inquire, they're going to inquire. What I suppose I know from managing all the websites that we do over the last, as a lead engine for the last 9 years, you see that little things, we call it conversion rate, so from visitor to inquiry, a percentage rate. And we know there are little things that can increase that number, because not everyone, you can use your website, can convince people to inquire that wouldn't have inquired before, if that kind of makes sense. Through things like silly little things like layout, not even sometimes the wording, just like where the form is, can have effects on people making inquiry, which sounds crazy, but it's true. So your website does have the abilities. Like we've clients where their website, there were people going to it, referrals going to it before, and no one inquired. And we launched it, and that went from 0 to 50, I think, in the first month. We didn't add new people to it. People were searching the brand already. It was well-known brand in the area. People were just seeing the old one, and were not. I'm not gonna pick up the phone because this is not good. Right. So that's a really extreme example, but just that concept that your website does have the ability to do that and can do that. And then I suppose if we move on to the templates, these templates are designed based on the things that we have learnt over the last, for me personally, since 2004, but as the lead engine since 2014, on what makes people pick up the phone or leave a message that may have not done before. So the template is set out in that structure. It frustrates me when some of the guys and girls that have got those then change it around, and I'm like, no, we've made the layout like that for you because of this. But it's their website. It's up to them. The templates are not in concrete. You can change them around, but they are developed in the way that of things that we have learned from seeing all this data. If that kind of makes sense. So you've got a bit of a head start, and then we get like we got with yours. You gave us your logo, and we take the color palette from it and we put that within the template, so it's unique to you. So you've got that head start, you've got that sort of framework, and then you just got to pop your content in, and it's very much, you can, as you've kind of experienced, you kind of see it. If you can edit a Word document, you can edit the website. I think it's probably fair to say it's a little bit more complex than editing a Word document, but it's rare that we get feedback or people saying, "Oh, I don't know how to change this" or whatever. Because you've watched the webinar, haven't we? There's an introduction. There's a 30-minute introduction to editing your website, and then there's a lot of little video. If you do get, how do I change colors? Whenever I get a support request on how to do this, I do a little video on how to do that specific thing, and then upload that to the library. But it's some of the people never edited a website before, and they've done it. I think one of your brands, one of the guys in your team, one of his brands, he got his over to compliance within a couple of days, I think it was. Mm-hmm. So there is that ability to do that, and you get a bit of a head start. So we kind of call it semi DIY, because you've got that kind of head start. And then on the onboarding form, we ask, give us 5 pages of content, and we'll create those 5 pages. And then we show you how to clone those pages to create new ones in that format. So it should be pretty simple.
I think it's like what you said there with what I found and my experiences with it. It's something that I wanted to take control of, something that I wanted to do myself. But I feel as though I've got the courses, I've got the webinars, I've got the how-to. I can watch them in order and follow through in terms of my learning. So, and it's in my own time, in my own style, and that's what I loved about it. But then behind the scenes, like you said, it's built on 18 years or so foundations of understanding what a website should look like, what a good template looks like, but also as well is that you've got that support function as well there, thinking, oh, this has got wrong, or I'm struggling with this, or how do I do this? And that's building out as well in terms of from a learning point of view. So from a broker's point of view that knows they need the website, know the importance of that and what they need to do, it's investing the time and the effort with regards to building a website. But actually, it's the best of both. I love that model that I can do it myself, so I can see the instant change. I want to do something today on my website, I can make it happen. I can do that. But in a safe pair of hands. You know what I mean? I'm not going too rogue, going down that rabbit hole of, because I have done that before. When I did something and it was just completely on my own, not in this, like years ago when I first set up, a bit of DIY stuff going on, and things happened and I couldn't change them. I literally then, I'm like, what have you done? Kind of thing, what have I done? I need to undo it. Didn't know how to undo it, and then all of a sudden, just, oh, what's the point? I'm just going to get somebody to do it for me. Whereas with this, yes, I've got the courses, yes, I've got the webinars, yes, but then I've also got that safe pair of hands behind me going, do you know what? Don't know how to do this. Can you help me with that? And there is a massive help and support there from people that know what they're talking about without making it overcomplicated.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of your guys as well comes on. We do like a live Q&A session every fortnight. So you get half an hour where we're literally there as well. So sometimes people come on, and if they're stuck, we can do it that's when we can actually do it for. So I'm a super administrator on all the sites. So when I'm on that sort of drop-in session, if someone's stuck with something, I can then do it for them in that session, if that makes sense. So we've got a team available, and then Tom will make himself available if someone's running ads or whatever and they're not sure what's going on, and we can look at it in that time. So it's kind of like you've got that live kind of feedback within that time fortnightly, and then or the support requests kind of things where so we can't jump. It's really difficult trying to we want to help people. We've got, like you have, we've got service related businesses because we love helping people and love helping them succeed. But if I couldn't do one-to-one with everyone on that DIY thing, because it would, I'll be on the dole in a fortnight, I imagine. But having that window, you're in a group environment, but you get to know everyone. They're all sort of there, people with different networks, and some DA, and some of them do bridging, some of them do mortgages, some of them in Scotland, and it's a nice little community where actually they all like to help each other. And it's funny, like some of them then give advice to the other ones as well. So you'll get other, so people like Jamie, who's been on it for a couple of years, people will ask him his advice on it, and then actually one of your guys, Ross, as well, was giving some feedback to another guy as well. So it's a nice, friendly environment. We're all trying to help each other. We all want to be successful. And then, that's when you get that access where we can literally, if you are stuck on something, I'll literally do it on screen for you at that point.
I think that's it. Like, from my feedback from Ross and from the others that are part of that group, is that it is very much a supportive. It's not you've not got some super geek on rolling their eyes going, how can you not know to do that kind of thing? It's very much the community together, because they're all learning, and I absolutely love that kind of thing. It's like, I love that brokers learning from each other, feeling safe in the environment, think, do you know what, I can talk about, I can feel a bit stupid, I can sort of put a bit of a sort of show a bit of weakness in this kind of area, because this is not my specialist subject. If I'm talking about income protection or business protection, or who's got the best 2-year deal right now or 5-year deal, then fine, that's my domain. Whereas this is not my space. This is not. So having that environment, it just shows you the culture that's set up right from the start, with the right people that are wanting to do this. Because I know firsthand, like I speak to Ross every single month without fail. We have more conversations as well than just that, but he's very pro about his website, and he's very precious about his website as well. He loves the fact that it generates traffic. He loves the fact that it generates income. But that's something that, yes, he's used your template. Yes, he's got your help and support. But actually, it's what he's built. It's what
Yeah.
he's done, and that's the sort of the buzz about it.
What he's done brilliantly as well is incorporating the social media strategy with the website as well by embedding. So, SEO, Google is, we talked about it being a dark art. It's not. It's Q&A. It's like someone goes on to Google and they ask a question, and Google wants to give the best answer. There's not a dark art there. The only dark art really is proving your sort of authority. I won't get into that, but essentially, basics is people search stuff, and Google wants a web page with a really good answer. And then you group all those answers and questions into a topic, like, I don't know, self-employed mortgages or something. And then each question you should be able to answer. That answer, the customer doesn't. That's content for your website, simply. You can then also answer that in a reel, on Instagram. You can, it's a question of what documents do I need if I'm in a partnership or something, or whatever, LLP or whatever it is, whatever the question is. You can answer that. If you can answer that in a minute for a reel, you can embed that on your website next to the written content that Google reads, and then people can get to know. They've got a choice of finding out their answer by seeing you as a person deliver that, which I think is really incredibly powerful. Or reading that or reading it as text. And he's done brilliantly of putting his reels and embedding them in amongst his text as well, which he finds, really easy to do. And then he's kind of now got his content plan for his website, his content plan for his social as well, and they're working together. So yeah, he's been very proactive with that, and yeah, he will. If he keeps going, things will grow and grow.
I think that's the thing with it, is that because he's clearly passionate about that, but then for somebody that's listening the first time thinking, oh my God, like I don't even know where to start with something like that. Like, how does that even work? Where to start with it? Well, you do explain that there is that step-by-step. I've watched like the SEO content guide. Now you've got step-by-step videos. You've got that video vault of help to go, right, just do this, then follow that. And if this bit, I don't get that, go back to that bit and go. So, and like I say, if you are, then there's the group sessions. So, but it's always about, for me, the thing with this is that, and the reason why I chose to do this and go down this road, and this is why I'm passionate about it and why I wanted to get you on the podcast to talk about it, is because you're learning, you're developing yourself. I feel as though I'm no web developer and that, but if I feel as though I can do something on a website that has an impact, that motivates me. I'm building out my website. I'm like the feedback I had, and I did reach out to a few people and sort of said, when I'm my own one, and sort of say, right, you've seen everything I do, you've seen this, this, and this. What is it that's not connected? And they give me feedback on that. I think, okay, well, I can work on that now. I can work on the feedback I've had from several people, and thought, right, I need to define my product on the website. What does that look like? And using the website to build that out. But if you need to motivated by investing in yourself to then do this, because it could be easy to go, do you know what, Alex, here you go, here's X amount of more pounds per month, blah, 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 blah. Can you just do it for us, mate? Can you just crack on and do it? There's that option. Or for the sole trader, the one my back, somebody who does genuinely want to learn the dark art of various digital marketing, it's a great way to then get your hand in, because you've got the template, it's branded, it's colored, it's set up for you. You can, like I said, duplicate the pages, tweak them, make sure they're just in preview till then, and then make them live when you want to. And genuinely, if I can do things like I've changed pages, I've added to pages, I've done various things, and this is like I said, this is only something I've been doing for the last week or two. It's then, if I can do it and got the time to do it, then everybody can do it, and everybody can make time to do it, because yes, you're social proofing yourself, but then it's the other things that just help with building your online, building your brand, building your online presence as a whole, and not just focusing in one particular area. You're focusing across everything, really.
Absolutely. One point I will make, though, is that if you do want to upgrade and it's not right for you, we do say no. So sometimes you can't pay more and get more because what we've learned in the last decade, like nearly 10 years now, is who we can help and at what point and what service. So we don't always get it right. We make mistakes. But every client we get, we learn when the timing is right for them as well. So if you are a startup, we wouldn't pitch anything other than the DIY for you, because it would, cash flow wise, it wouldn't work for you. We're starting to learn that, and then also I would try not to. So there are people that don't want to do it, and there's some people that take us up on it and then don't do the work, and then they don't obviously progress. There's no shortcuts in life, and other than winning the lottery. Like there's no you can run ads to your website from, to get people looking for advice. You can do that, and that can provide shortcuts, but you're paying for it. There's no shortcuts to becoming an overnight success, even with your website. You do have to get there, and don't be fooled by just thinking, even if you hire someone like a specialist like us, that they can do this. Sometimes you are better off on your own, certainly at 100% at the beginning, to do that, and then maybe in time you could get to a point where that would work for you. But on the other hand, we've had people on the DIY for years, doing really well, and they don't need to upgrade because they've done the work, and they're just maintaining those positions now, and they get the leads that they need. So, yeah, if that kind of makes sense.
No, it definitely does. I think, like you say, and I think it's down to the individual, isn't it? Like you're not overselling something, like it's not right for. And I was having this very similar sort of conversation yesterday with a broker who's been employed, been in the corporate world, gone self-employed, now going out on her own. And like I said to her, it's about your cash flow, certainly at the start, making sure you've got your income coming in. There's no she was, do I start with this? Do I go there? Do I spend money on this? Do I go, like, where does it sort of start? And obviously there's various decisions to be made, but the website is one to be made, get right from the start. But like, see, you're not here to, like, the DIY self-service option is something to get your shop window open and shop window out into the thing. And if you, like, for me, like, when the template that you set up was fine, like there was not, like, it was, I didn't need to, I wanted to do something with it, absolutely, and that wasn't down to what you'd done or what you'd set up. It was because I wanted to add my personality to it, and and I will continue to do that. And it's not right now, is it perfect? No, not at all, but I'm working on it and building on it and tweaking on it. But I think, especially when you, like, as a new broker setting up as self-employed, you know how to be a mortgage broker. You're probably doing social media things already. If you're obviously going from self-employed to then owning your own firm and becoming a sole trader or having your own brand, you might have been doing social media already. You might be doing those sorts of things, but you've not been doing your website and you've not been focused on that sort of thing. But now you go in, you're setting up your own firm, you're having your own brand. It's important this is part of what you do with regards to your digital marketing. Don't you need to add a website onto the, I'm saying you need to add, you do, like, that's my belief anyway, that you do.
I think it's one that you potentially missing out on quite a lot of opportunities by not having one, because people so many people searching online. It's ridiculous. There's so much business to go around, and it's not, you don't need big budgets to do it. To you earn the right SEO, you earn the right through good content, and then even with pay-per-click, you can still have your you're not always competing with the big boys all the time. There's stuff that you can do, because there's so many different things that people search. There's so many problems around mortgages that people have. There's so many opportunities for everyone.
I think that's it. Like, because you can overthinking, or do I need to run Google? Well, we're not going to talk about that today. It's then once you've got your website up and running and you're getting your content's right, then Google Ads, Google My Business, adding your reviews onto there and all those sorts of things will add and help with traction and footfall from your website, which we're not going to talk about. The idea of the podcast was to say there is a option out there. There is a third option in terms of doing nothing or paying somebody.
Yeah.
There is a very good proposition out there of something to do yourself. So that was that. And like I say, there is a lot of other things to build onto that, which you offer help with regards to ads and business, like Google My Business, Google Ads, and those sorts of things. But you need to start with the foundations of a solid website. You can't just think I'm going to spend 400 quid on Google Ads because I get 400 quid free when I first starting out.
Yeah.
You just might as well just throw the £400 against the wall if you've not got the foundations right there in the first place.
Coming back to that point where your website has the ability to convince people to pick up the phone through things like layout and content that, you know, on another website can't. So it's kind of, we've got all those things that we've learned. What, you know, I suppose really we do lead generation financial services, but really what we focus on is like, what is it that makes people want to do business with someone or inquire or, you know, say, out of all these thousands of brokers, I want to work with you. Because they do look at multiple people. You know, we're looking at holiday at the minute, and the amount of research we're doing on reviews, on locations, on flights, and we do so much bloody research. And I was thinking, some people are like this with their broker, maybe not to the extremes that we're doing, but we look at the reviews. We want to, you know, there's so much stuff, and then if the amount of websites I see where they've got, I was speaking to someone yesterday. They had nearly 100 5-star Google reviews. You go to their website, see it loads up. You don't see that,
right?
Because it wasn't. You know, just simple things like that have a massive, massive impact. So a new website for them will have a massive impact. So they've got people coming to the website at the minute. They're not inquiring because they don't see some of these trust signals.
Yeah.
Because they've built a website like everyone else builds a website, and if everyone knew how to build a really good website, then, you know, I'd have to find something else to do. So with every other web designer and every other marketer, the problem is the way we build websites is we don't listen to our best clients. Our best clients are referrals. They tell us why they've chose us, and we don't use that information on our websites.
No.
I chose you because of you, because Sandra said you were brilliant, because X, Y, Z. And we don't sort of deconstruct that and think, oh, it's so important to that person that they knew that we were trustworthy, that we'd helped someone else. The second best thing is showing your Google reviews. That replicates that feeling. So you just listen to your best referrals, deconstruct what they're saying to you, and use that on your website. A lot of time it's because of you. And I bet you're not you, Craig, as in you who's listening. It'll be because of you why you're getting clients, and I bet your face isn't even on there. Certainly, I bet it's not the first thing that people see when it should be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we just, for some reason, it's because I think we have this fear. Your brain will subconsciously be protecting you from criticism, rather than thinking, people ring me because of me. Me should be the website. But actually, we worry about being narcissistic. We worry about that's not a good photo. We worry that people think it's weird that I'm on my website. But that's a simple. All we've done is deconstructed a referral, and every feeling that someone gets from a referral, we've either replicated that or put something in place that is the same. That's all it is. There you go. Secret's out now. I'm gonna be on the dial soon.
I know exactly. I was just thinking what did you say? 2 weeks the doll. So
yeah. Hopefully, I got a bit more savings in 2 weeks, but
but that's it. Like, you're absolutely right. Is that people are not. They've chosen you as a broker. They've come to you because of you. It's not because you've got the best rate, because of this, or it's about who you are, and it's about you, your values, and getting those out there. It's like talking the other day, like you don't be ashamed of who you are and what your values, because that's what brings people to you, and brings people to you in your brand and generates inquiries and leads. So absolutely. So
Yeah.
Alex,
I do have to go, but I'm just one point I just thought of making. I bet no one's ever rang you to say, "Oh, I rang you because my friend told me you've got access to the whole market of like X 120 lenders or 50 plus lenders." It's not.
Never
So
happened.
I would just like the next referrals that you get, the next 5 to 10 referrals that you get, ask them why they called. If they just say, "Oh, because Tina said or John said to ring you," then say, "Well, why? What did they say?"
What did they say?
And then write those things down, and then look at your website with that information and think, does my website reflect what I've just learned of why people pick up the phone? And if it doesn't, and then think about how can I change that?
Do something about it. Absolutely. Alex, thank you so much for your time. Before I let you go, if I'm sat here now listening to this podcast thinking, I want to understand more, I want to explore more about this sort of the DIY self-service, what's the best way for them to contact you?
We said it wasn't going to be a sales pitch, Craig. We can't do it.
You're allowed one. You are allowed. You're allowed one.
So the leadengine.co.uk, Alex Curtis on LinkedIn. If you want to be a little bit more entertained, a bit more fun on Instagram, which I think is I was even trying to be funny with my Instagram handle. So it's inst.acurtis. It's like Insta Curtis. But there you are.
Fine. You were allowed one, honestly.
That was the awkward bit.
I know. I want. This was the whole point of, and I was conscious of this, and as you was, in terms of. But I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this because there's brokers that I know that aren't doing anything about it, and they could be doing something about it, rather than burying their head in the sand or not doing anything and choosing option one of doing nothing. Or there is other options out there, which is for me was a great option. It's working very well. I find it easy. I'm in control of it. It happens instantly. And it's just, like you say, it's just a constant develop from my own point of view and my own learning point of view. So you're allowed a sales pitch now.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we as a business and me personally want, when someone searches for financial advice, they find an advisor, not a lead generator who's going to sell their details. Ultimately, if I just want to help I just want to get rid of that because I've seen behind the scenes of that, like that culture of wanting to trick people and things like that. It's just not good for you, the industry, or anyone. So
not good for the client.
Not good for anybody at all, other than the lead generator making a margin. I just want it to be, I'll be satisfied if we get rid of all people that sell leads in a unscrupulous manner. So there's some that are good. So it's like some of them, you choose the advisor, it's very transparent. If we can get rid of all the untransparent ones, then that would be great. So that's what we really want to help people do, and that is why it's there to do that. So
okay, excellent. Alex, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming back on and explaining and just talking more about it. And we appreciate the sales pitch at end. There's no problem with that. But thank you again so much for your time and your input into the podcast.
No, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Mortgage Broker Broadcast, the podcast which helps mortgage brokers at all stages of their mortgage broking career. If you have any questions about this podcast or any topics you want us to discuss, or if you're interested in working with me further, then please get in touch.